So why am I here? Well, let me tell you a story. In 1992, I was an undergrad in Denver. And in that year, there was an amendment that was put up for a vote. This was Amendment 2. You might have heard about this. This amendment would make it legal to fire or evict somebody because of their orientation. Okay? And I'm like, yeah, right. That thing is like not even constitutional. Everybody can see you can't discriminate according to our Constitution, right? Well, the thing, I didn't even bother to vote because it was so clearly unconstitutional. Well, yeah, it passed. I was stunned. It ended up being overturned by the Colorado Supreme Court, so that was a good thing. But I was stunned, and we can start thinking, what is it that makes people feel so passionately about other people who are lesbian or gay? I wasn't the only one who was stunned. My favorite faculty member is an undergrad. Shout out, Dr. Bohan. Yeah. She was also surprised about what happened here, and she created a course called The Psychology of Sexual Orientation that I now teach here on this campus. And I took that class, and I also went on to get my PhD in social psychology. My area of research is discrimination. And in my education, I've learned a few things. I want to share a few of these things with you. One of the first things I learned about is throwaway kids. I don't know if you've heard this term before, but throwaway kids are kids who come out to their parents when they're youngsters, 12, 14, or whatever, and their parents say, get out of my house. 12 or 14-year-old kids thrown out of their parents' house because they are gay. I can't imagine doing that. Suicide. I found out about the suicide rates for people who are lesbian or gay, kids who are questioning their orientation. Of the kids who attempt or commit suicide, between 1/2 and 3/4 of these kids are doing so because of questions about their orientation. These kids are killing themselves because of what society is telling them. I also learned that 1 in 4 families has a close family member who is gay. I also learned that 1 in 10 is gay. So I also learned a lot about research with respect to people who are gay and lesbian. Some of the things I learned about relationships for people who are gay and lesbian is, first thing is being gay is not a disorder. It's within the realm of normal human sexuality. That's one of the top things that I've learned. Another thing I learned, partners who are in gay and lesbian relationships have a more equal division of labor than people who are in straight relationships. They feel more equitable division of the household chores and those kinds of things. Just like straight people, the satisfaction with their relationship is correlated with physical and mental health. So if they're feeling satisfied, they're feeling strong about their relationship, that's going to indicate stronger mental and physical health. I learned a lot about the research with respect to children of gays and lesbians, and apparently that's something that sort of strikes a chord with some of you. What I found was lots and lots of studies have been done with respect to these children as compared to children of hetero families. Their gender development is not driven by their parents' orientation, but by their parents' attitudes. Right? So as parents, whether you're straight or gay, your attitude towards your children is going to be much more impactful on their gender orientation, their gender development. I also read, here's an interesting thing, in the United States, children of same-sex couples are less likely to use school-based support. Right? We want our kids to be supported when they go to school and get counseling, special help if they need it, right? On the other hand, in cultures where the visibility of these families is decreasing stigmatization, like these families are more recognized, and therefore the stigmatization will decrease. School-based, like in Australia, school-based support is accessed by these kids. So where are these kids all day at school? If they need help, they can go get some. So I raise all of my children with this idea. Whoever they are, whatever they are as just as valuable on this earth as anybody else. Probably more so because they're my kids, but right. So have them in an accepting and loving environment. So one day when my boy is about 12 years old, he comes to talk to me, and I'm watching TV because that's what I do best. And he says, "Mom, I want to talk to you about something." And I'm like, I'm a good mother, so I muted the TV. Right? And he says, "Mom, I think I'm gay." And he started to cry. So I turned off the TV. And when I hugged him, I said, "Why are you crying?" And he says, "Well, I don't want you and Dad to be mad at me." Me, right? I need a tissue. Anyway, so I asked him if he wanted me to tell his dad or if he would like to tell his dad, and he said, would you please do it? Because he was afraid of what his dad would say. And yay, his dad said, why don't we have a coming out party? Another one of my roles is I'm a grandmother. Now, everybody together, you look too young? I have 6 grandkids so far, and there's no sign of stopping. Given that 1 in 10 people is gay, there's a high likelihood that at least one of my grandchildren will also be gay. So let me ask you all this question. You have kids and grandkids, right? Which of these children, I have 10 grandchildren, which of them would you be comfortable saying you cannot get married? The rest of your siblings can get married, but not you. Well, I've heard a lot of arguments about Proposition 8. One of the big arguments that I hear is that marriage is for procreation. Okay? And let me tell you, I think a lot of us, when we think about it, we're like, okay, that one doesn't really hold true because of several things, right? Like I said, the spouse and I, no biological kids between us. My mother and her husband, no biological kids between them. So some of us decide not to have kids. Some of us cannot have kids, right? So if marriage is for procreation, then what we really should do logically is test people's fertility when they get their marriage certificate. And also, my husband's marriage, our marriage, and my parents and my mother's marriage, it's probably illegal because we didn't procreate. Also, it assumes that people who are gay or lesbian cannot procreate or do not want to procreate, and both of those arguments are simply false. Okay? Being gay does not have fertility, right? One way or the other. Okay. Another question that I see is gay marriage goes against traditional marriage. Supreme Court said the prevailing opinion in the Supreme Court decision about marriage, tradition is not a valid reason for discrimination laws.
Yes.
So let me ask you, what is traditional marriage, right? We like to think it's because love and offspring and all that kind of thing. Well, there's no... Traditional marriage has been changing over the last couple of centuries. You probably can think of examples of your own. Let me give you some examples here. In the last couple of centuries, divorce has become legal. In the last couple of centuries, the criminalization of marital rape and the recognition that you can be raped by your husband, this has been recognized. The legalization of interracial marriage. Once again, the spouse and I could not have been married 50 years ago because he's not white. The recognition of a woman to own property in her own marriage. That's a new rule. Right? The elimination of dowries. The elimination of childhood marriages and betrothals. The elimination of polygamy. The existence of large numbers of unmarried people. These are all new. Women not taking the last name of their husbands. And the changing of emphasis from money and property to love and personal fulfillment. That's a big one that's occurred in the last couple of centuries. So when you're talking traditional marriage, my question is, which traditional marriage are you referring to? Right? Are you referring to the one that, as a female, you can't own property? Then we need to talk, right? So if gay marriage is illegal, what will that mean? Well, what that will mean is my son, my boy, will never, ever get to have a socially recognized permanent relationship with someone he loves. Never. My boy. If gay marriage is legal, what will that mean? Well, the first thing it's going to mean is y'all are going to have to buy a whole lot more wedding gifts. So this is going to be great for the economy. Incidentally, I want you to think about this question. Why is it we have our families at our weddings? What's up with that? Right? Okay. Another thing that if gay marriage is legal, what that will mean is my son will be able to have the same dreams and hopes for the future as his siblings. All right? Okay. Well, it's easy to talk in the abstract about people who are gay or lesbian. It's really easy to talk about an us versus them kind of an argument, kind of a setup. But they are us. This is our children. These are our siblings, our cousins, our aunties and uncles. Right? These are us. These are our grandchildren. This is us we're talking about. This is our families. Okay. So I'm here today, despite my anxiety about being in front of groups, to tell you, don't be like I was when Amendment 2 came down in Denver. Don't let this proposition pass. You need to stand up for yourself, for your families, for your children. You need to get out, make sure you register to vote, and vote no on this proposition.